Achieving success through heavenly timing. All right, today we're exploring the hidden architecture of success, failure, and the cosmic rules that actually govern our lives. But, we aren't starting with some grand, sweeping historical event or really complex scientific theory. Instead, our journey begins with a surprisingly silly yet incredibly relatable personal anecdote from Feng, the author of our source text for this explainer. It's basically a story about a card game, an absolutely devastating loss, and a sudden, profound realization about the universe itself. Okay, let's dive into this. Our author hooks us right away with this hilarious, kind of startling title, Achieving Success Through Heavenly Timing, Insights from Losing My Underpants. I mean, yes, you heard that right. It's a really funny, unexpected title for a piece on profound cosmic wisdom, isn't it? But you see, he takes a childhood card game defeat, something so trivial and honestly slightly embarrassing, and uses it as a launch pad to uncover the deep, hidden laws of the universe. It really sets the perfect tone for us. It's curious, a little self-deprecating, and just incredibly open to learning from the absolute unexpected. Now, before anyone gets the wrong idea here, let me just playfully clarify this metaphor. When the author says he lost his underpants, or was quote-unquote stripped bare, we are definitely not talking about literal clothes. He's actually referring to a Chinese card game called Struggling Upstream, which is, well, it's kind of similar to Hearts. In this game, each player starts with 5 chips, and losing a round means losing a chip. So when you lose all 5, boom, you are officially stripped bare. Now, the author has been playing this game since he was like 4 or 5 years old, but on this one particular night, he's suffered a devastating 0-chip defeat. For a lifelong player, I mean, that was just completely baffling. But here is where the story shifts from just a simple game night to something much, much deeper. He had to ask himself, did my skills regress? Was I just having an off night? And the answer he arrived at was a resounding no. Instead, he remembered this ancient proverb, man plans and the heavens decide. Actually, it hit him that this humiliating defeat wasn't a failure of skill at all. It was a profound gift from the Tao, the fundamental principle that underlies the universe. The universe was literally using this tiny localized defeat at a card table to teach him a massive lesson about control. You see, theoretical teachings, like the proverb we just talked about, they're really just empty words until you actually feel them in your bones. And this brings us to a super powerful concept, the absolute necessity of ultimate defeat or ultimate triumph. Look, you can read all the philosophy books in the world, right? But until you personally experience a crushing, totally unexplainable defeat, or on the flip side, a massive unforeseen triumph, your illusion of absolute control remains completely intact. The author actually needed to be stripped bare at that card table to finally understand what the ancient sages were really talking about. Think about how this applies to the ultimate game, the game of life. We so often assume that inputs automatically equal outputs. But under the control of the Tao, holding a great hand and having really exceptional skills, that doesn't prevent you from being stripped bare. You can do absolutely everything right and still lose it all. And conversely, having poor skills and terrible cards doesn't eliminate your chance to win. The universe, the Tao, has this uncanny way of completely overriding our seemingly perfect setups and our seemingly doomed starting points. And this brilliantly illustrates how a simple card game analogy maps perfectly onto the real world. Let's walk through some of these stark paradoxes together. So someone might be exceptionally good-looking, possessing what we'd call a great card, right? Yet they end up with a totally miserable life. Another person might have a very humble appearance, but enjoy 100 years of absolute peace. Someone with immense wealth might end up in prison, while someone living a life of stark poverty might fully enjoy family happiness and true contentment. The point here is that having good cards in life guarantees absolutely nothing when it comes to the final outcome. And this mystery, it goes even further. On one hand, we see exceptional talent and intelligence, which sometimes results in a truly tragic end. And on the other hand, someone who is totally ignorant and clueless might live a completely unscathed life. It's wild. It asks us to deeply reflect on a question I think we've all asked at some point. Why does life seem so deeply unfair and, well, chaotic? Why do the smartest people sometimes fail spectacularly, while those who seem to lack any real strategy just kind of glide through life effortlessly? To truly understand this, we need to slow down and look at the math of the universe, which is represented here by the number 54. A standard deck of cards. Think about it. Every single time 4 people sit down to play, the cards are shuffled. Even if you play for a lifetime, the chances of drawing the exact same hand twice are just incredibly slim. The combinations of those 54 cards are astronomical. They are almost limitless. It represents pure, unfiltered chaos and randomness. But here is the massive philosophical contradiction that our author realized. While the deck's combinations appear completely chaotic, random, and totally disorderly, the ultimate outcome for each player often feels almost predetermined. Have you ever felt that way? Like, no matter how wildly the variables in your life shift and change around you, you are somehow being pulled toward a very specific destination? It turns out, the sheer randomness of the draw is just an illusion, masking a much deeper truth. Now, what's really interesting is the specific name given to this deeper truth, the holographic mechanism. This is basically the core truth of the Tao. It defines how strict, elusive rules and unseen mysteries are perfectly hidden right within what looks like pure chaotic disorder. When you look closely at life, or, a card game, you see chaos. But if you zoom out, you see that this chaos actually masks a deeply hidden, untouchable cosmic order. So the universe isn't actually random at all. Its rules are just so incredibly complex and beautifully woven that our human minds just perceive them as chaos. So the crucial point is, what actually happens to you when you finally truly understand and accept this holographic mechanism? Well, it radically changes your behavior. You stop seeking quick gains simply because you know you aren't the one ultimately pulling the strings anyway. You stop feeling so restless. You stop trying to impose your will on others. And you finally drop that exhausting burden of over-competitiveness. I mean, if the Tao is ultimately in control, all that frantic grasping and fighting is just a massive waste of your energy. Which brings us directly to the ultimate strategy for living under the Tao. And it's neatly broken down into 3 super simple steps. Step 1, play. Step 2, entertain. Step 3, experience. Once you really accept the holographic mechanism, you start to realize that everything else, the stress, the constant need for control, all that anxiety over outcomes, it's just an illusion. The absolute best way to navigate the apparent chaos of life is to simply experience it. You just need to be present at the table, play the hand you were dealt to the absolute best of your ability, and just enjoy the entertainment of the game itself, totally regardless of whether you win or lose your chips. And the source text makes a rather incredible claim about this realization. It states that truly understanding this holographic mechanism isn't just about, reducing your daily stress. It is actually the stated path to transcending the ordinary. It's basically the key to letting go of everyday worries and, metaphorically speaking, becoming a celestial being, someone who just moves through the world with grace, entirely unbothered by those superficial wins and losses that seem to trap absolutely everyone else. And that brings us to the end of our explainer today, leaving us with a final, really provocative question. In a universe governed by hidden rules, how are you playing the cards you've been dealt? Are you frantically trying to control the deck, getting frustrated and angry when the chaos just doesn't go your way? Or are you finally ready to surrender that illusion of control, trust the hidden holographic mechanism of the Tao, and simply enjoy the experience of the game? I really encourage you to take some time to ponder that today. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and hey, keep exploring.